Welcome to the Strategic Management Accounting course, where we teach the value-adding steps and processes necessary to execute strategy. Whether you are just starting up or looking to grow your business, then this course is for you. With your host, Dr. Neil O'Connor.
Yeah, so the big question on a lot of companies' minds around the world today is innovation. How can I be innovative? And how can companies, C managers are asking this question all the time, how can we sustain our innovation? It's always good to be innovative, but then it goes in fits and starts for a lot of companies. We see it from time to time, especially in the electronics industry, where Nokia was very innovative in the 80s and 90s, but suddenly it really got onto the back burner when Apple came along and the Android systems come along, because they start off with their own software, and now they've sort of come back with a new set of smartphones that are trying to sell with a new camera system. So there are a lot of examples out there where companies have struggled to sustain their innovation. Another example is Apple in the early stages, very innovative, but then they nearly died, and they came back after 1997 when Steve Jobs came back. But it took many, many years to get that innovative culture back in place. And so innovation is something where companies struggle with on day-to-day, month-to-month, annually, all the time. How do we maintain our innovation? How do we sustain our innovation? And for many companies making products, it's all about coming up with a new product, the next best thing. A lot of phone companies have a product life cycle of these new smartphones of about 6 to 7 months, and that's how, for example, HTC was able to get into the top 5 back in the year 2009, 2010, 2011, because they were so innovative on their product development life cycle. So innovation is there, and people often ask me, well, so what has management planning and control systems got to do with innovation? Well, it's got everything to do with innovation, because companies need to have the right control systems in place to have sustainable innovation. So take, for example, Facebook. They bring in Sheryl Sandberg like Chief Operations Manager, and basically Sheryl brought in the set of controls that enables Facebook to grow in a sustainable way, so they can actually sustain their innovative processes on a larger scale. So Facebook's a great example. Google, another innovative company, they have controls in place. The media doesn't always talk about those controls. Everyone seems to focus on the stock options that employees get when these companies just do, going towards IPO, and the millionaires that are produced by the process of the IPO. Twitter's in the process of doing that now. So the media really doesn't focus on these other controls that are necessary for innovation to be sustainable. So in this course, Management Planning and Control System, we actually focus on the whole package of controls that are needed for firms to sustain their innovations. And we talk about the tightness of controls. We talk about the control options that companies can have. Options like, we're talking about results controls that focus on the options, focus on commission income, people controls or the culture controls, or simple action controls like standard operating procedures. So these are very important to actually go through and to understand as a manager of the options they have available to actually push forward an innovative culture, to actually push into the organisation this sense of that everyone can contribute to the change that the organisation is going through. So if the control options are not fully understood, then in some ways the control side becomes a dark side of the moon, so to speak. And traditionally that's how control is seen. Organisations are seen as being very bureaucratic or being very innovative, and it's kind of like we can't have an innovative bureaucratic organisation. It's kind of like, so we're going to do this management control system course. Oh, that's great for learning about controls. They use their bureaucratic organisation. I say, no, no, no. Controls packaged correctly are necessary to sustain an innovative culture, to sustain innovation over time in this fast-paced world. So we look at these control options, we look at these controls as a package. In this course we also look at control costs. We look at the direct costs, such as putting in control systems. And a great example of that is what all US listed companies had to incur, especially the S&P 500 companies, incurred on average $1 million in setting up all the systems and auditing procedures they need in place to comply with Sarbanes-Oxley 302 and 404, which came through after the Enron crisis, the WorldCom crisis back in 2001-2002. So we've got Sarbanes-Oxley that came into being, and that created a whole new layer of costs of administration on all organisations, whether they're innovative or not, whether they want to be innovative or not. And so we need, in this course, we try and understand more about the costs of putting controls in place, and are there substitutable ways of substituting one control for another control so that we can actually have more effective controls by actually lowering the direct costs of the organisation. In this course we also look at the indirect costs, behavioural displacement, gamesmanship. These are major indirect costs that are ever present in all organisations, and in some ways this notion of tightness, how do we get greater controlled tightness in an organisation so we have less leakage, is very important to this course. So we're talking about getting alignment of the organisation, alignment of the people on the ground with the alignment of the major strategy, making measurement systems specific, having lots of communication and participation in setting of targets in the organisation, and making sure that what we measure or what we're trying to control is complete, so we don't have any leakage in the controls. And so we talk about this notion of tightness, the different control options and the various costs of the different options in the organisation, as it applies to bureaucratic organisations, as it applies to IPOs, as it applies to Facebook, Google. In many ways this course is so necessary to understand how can we sustain innovation in the organisation, and this is why I'm so excited about teaching this course. In some ways it's a core course in all CPA modules, most CPA modules around the world, and in some ways there's a bit of tension involved in whether we make it a core course or an elective. And I think even if it becomes an elective, we can actually still sell this course as you really need to understand this course and the contents in order to sustain innovation in the organisation. Taken from another angle, when you think about it, organisations need to deal with change. They do really need to deal with change every day. Where is that change coming from? That change is coming from either two areas, major areas, and that is customers. Customers are changing all the time. Their preferences, what they liked 12 months ago is different from what they like today. And the other area in which change is coming from is competitors. Competitors that you didn't have 12 months ago are here with us today. We can see that in a lot of different industries. For example, in the mobile smartphone wars, we have new competitors coming from Korea and China. LG, Sharp from Japan, we have Huawei, we have Lenovo coming from China. And these are major competitors and coming into the top 10 in terms of volume of smartphone sales in the last 3 to 6 months around the world. And this is things that companies have to look out on the horizon for. If they don't have competitors today, they're going to have competitors tomorrow. So these two changes coming from customers and competitors, organisations need to look out for all the time. And fortunately, in this course, Management Planning and Control, we actually teach how to deal with these changes, this uncertainty that's coming from customers, that's coming from competitors. Because the way of dealing with this change is to think about Do we need to innovate faster or slower? Do we need to innovate in different ways that we've never done before? And having said that, and having knowing that we have to innovate in a certain way or have a certain strategy, then what is the system of value exchange an organisation has to put in place? A system of value exchange is what new products do we have to deliver to the market that we can fend off competitors of tomorrow, that we can actually deal with the customers' preferences that are going to be around tomorrow, not necessarily the same customer preferences that we see today. Volkswagen, they always know that the new design of their cars, the Volkswagen Golf, is always something that customers can never tell them. So focus groups are never enough for the new products that companies have to develop for tomorrow. Companies have to step out of the box when they're innovating. And in this course, we actually take students through this innovation process, this system of value exchange, and to think about, okay, what controls are needed to support the system of value exchange? What controls are needed to actually empower the people at the sales level, at the product design level, at the quality control level, at the purchasing level, all the different functions in the organisation? Controls need to be in place to make sure that all of these different parties are aligned, so they can actually engineer this system of value exchange, or in other words, this system of producing that brand new product that actually is going to win the competitors tomorrow, that is going to win the preferences of the customers of tomorrow. This is what we mean about innovation. It's about the competitors of tomorrow that you're fighting off. It's about the customer of tomorrow that is going to buy your product. And so controls are so necessary. Yes, we think that they're on the dark side of the moon, yes, we think that they are part of bureaucracy, but they are so critical for the innovation that organisations need to go through today. And this is what we teach in this course. We teach this notion of management planning and control to support innovation, to support the system of value exchange. In the end, it's about the sustainable innovation that organisations can undertake that will make sure that they survive tomorrow and for the future to come. So this is why I'm excited about this course, Management Planning and Control. It's really about innovation, and it's about the controls needed to support innovation, which will actually drive companies' value stream going forward. So I'm very excited, and I just hope the students are excited when they come into this course. So excited to teach this, and really hope that to empower students to go out and think that they didn't just take another management accounting course, they didn't just take another management control course, they actually took a course that can empower and focus innovation strategy and how it's executed in the organisation to empower organisations of tomorrow. So that's what it's about, and really hope that see students into my classroom. Thank you.